just the waiting for screen, and I want to make sure that we're actually being heard and seen because what you're saying is really important.
Mm.
So if you if
Uh, it looks like
Jim, if
it's
you can hear
going.
us, let us know. It says it's on my screen, and I have refreshed my to make
Page
sure
over
that we're
on
actually being
YouTube.
heard. And
Yeah, no, it's
oh,
going.
oh,
It's
there it
going.
is. There it is. I got it. Okay,
It's
it's
going.
happened.
Has it been
I don't know.
going?
Maybe
Jim can tell us
I,
if there was an
Jim, can you tell us
interruption.
if we've been going all along? Because I don't
I was just
know.
checking to see if the
I
Substack
there.
was
I mean, I
going.
see it now. It just. I think maybe it took a minute to
It's
catch up. So
probably
anyway, as
your
you were
thing, because it takes a minute.
it's
I don't know.
probably because so many things are going amiss with me personally.
Be
As
your
you were a
thing,
moment that I
because it
wouldn't
takes a
be
minute.
surprised.
I
It's
don't know.
probably I wouldn't be.
No, I mean like your
Yeah,
Wi-Fi, or sometimes because it does take a
I
minute to kick in.
I got all kinds of stuff going on. Anyway, you finish your stuff about Iran, and then
Oh
I'll
yeah.
I'll bring everybody up to date.
Well, that's when Israel attacked Iran. I mean, excuse me, Iraq in the early '90s. They didn't um, surrender the nuclear program. In fact, they quadrupled their budget to because the message is, oh shit, we need a nuclear weapon. That's all that they
Hmm.
it doesn't say, oh shit, we better give up our nuclear weapons. In fact, that was the deal we had because Iran wanted to
Right.
be a part of the world community. They were sick of the sanctions, and the deal was working. It wasn't just the deal between the United States and Iran. It was the entire
Mm.
Western democratic world. So we had the French and the Germans were monitoring these programs, and the in fact after because of the nuclear what is that, the non-proliferation treaty. The treaty says that you are a nation is there you can have nuclear energy for regular needs, but not to make a nuclear weapon. The whole goal is for
Hmm.
everyone to reduce their stockpile. And France,
Right.
every couple of years, would go in and take the whatever that material is that creates the bad stuff that comes out of the nuclear reactor that they can turn into a weapon, and France would take it, go back to France, and they would whatever they do. I'm not a nuclear scientist, and then they would return it to Iran, and they had their energy. So there was cooperation. There was monitoring. There were monitors on the ground. So, and they were complying. Every intelligence agency said they were complying. I don't give a shit. The maggots are all like, well, who can believe them? Who can believe them? Well, we believe our intelligence agencies, don't you? But not anymore, right? Not this
No, I
crowd, not
mean,
traitor Trump. So, but when Israel did see, because Netanyahu's been after a war with Iran for 30 years now, and he's the only, Trader Trump is the only asshole that took the bait. So
right.
I've heard things that he doesn't have an interest in a non-nuclear Iran. He'd rather have an isolated and nuclear Iran than an Iran that's part of the world community somehow. I don't know. He's it's uh, we have two assholes in charge in Iran and the United States and Israel who are both in office to escape the consequences of their life of crime, and it can't be
Correct.
believed. But the we know because Iraq, the father of the Iraqi nuclear program himself said, if not for Saddam Hussein invading Kuwait, we would have had a nuclear weapon in Iraq after Israel bombed us because they had put all their energy into that. But then when Saddam Hussein decided to go into Kuwait, they got distracted, and then of course we responded militarily, and all the resources went back to that, to saving the
Right.
regime, saving its ass. So this is what's happening in Iran. We know that even the after action reports say that this did nothing to stop their program. Whatever Trader Trump is saying, of course he's a filthy liar. If
Right.
anything, they're 6 months away from a nuclear weapon at this point, and of course they
Yeah.
move their shit around. They're not going to leave that stuff in those bases. So he
Yeah.
just opened. a Pandora's box. He has no idea what he's doing. And of course, what really
Person.
pisses me off beyond everything else is that he or any of his ilk will not put their asses on the line for this. They're not going to go
Oh
sign up.
no,
That's for sure. You
of
know, you
course
can
not.
join the military
Of
now
course
up
not.
to age 45. I mean, not 45, 42. So, Laura
Yep.
Loomer, a lot of these people, they're well in the
Yeah, let's send
ring.
Charlie Kirk. Let's
Right.
do that.
Go for it. Go for it, maggots.
Uh, yeah. So first of all, he's bragging that he like destroyed the sites when satellite imagery shows a very different tells a very different story, which is the truth,
Right.
which is they barely did anything. And right now, as we're doing this show live on the air, um, Representative Al Green has introduced articles of impeachment on the House floor, and the House is currently voting on a resolution introduced by the Republicans to table a vote on the articles of impeachment. So right now, if you're keeping an eye on C-SPAN, that's what they're voting on to a resolution to table the impeachment stuff, and it's going back and forth. Like right now, oh, well, now I can't see what it. Now it's gone. But someone,
What happened?
members will record their vote by. I don't. It's a five. There's a 5 minute. Well, oh, on agreeing to the resolution,
What happened?
members will record.
Yeah, I don't know.
I,
Where is it? You give me that link.
The House will no, they're voting on something different now. The House will consider a resolution condemning the recent attacks on Minnesota state lawmakers and calling for unity and the rejection of political violence in Minnesota. That's what they're voting on right
Oh,
now.
okay.
I don't know what happened to the impeachment vote because I was talking to you,
It was
which is
probably
fine.
tabled.
It was probably tabled because the Republicans are terrible.
Yeah. Because they're traitors. He has no
So
constitutional authority to do this at all. This is right
it's
out of
infuriating.
yeah. It's
But
really it's an impeachable offense for sure.
yes, and AOC is owning him beautifully, and that's why he released a Truth Social post that's like longer than my body, going after every single Democrat basically with new nicknames and new ways to make fun of
Oh,
them,
well,
and
this just makes you
he
feel good,
he
right? It's
he wants AOC to take the same cognitive test that he did.
okay.
Person,
Woman,
woman, man, camera.
yeah, let's do it right now.
I'm pretty sure she'd ace that test, oatmeal brain. My favorite is like, look at him. He's so freaked out. He is so freaked out by how unpopular this decision was, along with his unpopular big bullshit bill, that he's freaking out. He's throwing everything at the wall, and he is trying to find any scapegoat he can, which is why he
Yes.
released that huge long thing, because if he can't blame AOC, he can try Chuck Schumer. If Chuck Schumer doesn't work, he can go back and say that the 2020 election was stolen. He can blame Obama and Biden and Hillary Clinton for a million other things that are not their fault, because he will never take responsibility, and he will claw anywhere to find a scapegoat. Doesn't matter who that scapegoat is, whether it's his Diet Coke valet or
Mm.
it's the state attorney general of New York. Any scapegoat for anything that he did. So right now he's on Air Force One on his way to NATO, which will be another global embarrassment. He'll
Oh
probably
no,
fall
I
asleep at
know.
that one too, right? He's
Oh,
fallen asleep every time he goes overseas, to the only countries he's allowed into because he's a convicted felon and is barred from entering 38 different countries. Every time he goes overseas, it messes with his circadian rhythms because the man doesn't sleep to begin with, and he has a horrible diet. So, of course, when he goes overseas, he probably gets even more constipated and sick and exhausted.
right. That's true.
So, jet lag kicks in right around the time
He
he's
gets
supposed to
very
show up and
cranky.
represent the United States on the global stage. So, that'll be fun for us. Watch him fall asleep at NATO or say something profoundly embarrassing, completely showing the entire world that he has no idea what he's talking about.
Right.
Yet again.
Well,
Yet again.
it's
So we can
amazing.
look forward to
Yeah.
that.
How I'm just looking at this Truth Social. I know. This is why you should support the show because I got to do this shit. I
Exactly.
need,
Exactly. And Pink Nightmare is like, sorry, I'm a little baked. Dude, if I could be baked all the time, I can't. I mean, I can't get baked and do the show. And
No.
my lovely partner here is a sober human, and so we don't
Yes.
encourage. I don't encourage
No, I
nor
mean, do what
discourage.
you
Whatever
want. Do
makes you
what you
happy,
want.
whatever gets you through. But look at the okay.
Well,
No nukes
look
for
at
Iran.
Charlie.
No
This
troops
is
on the
yeah.
ground.
This is
No
what Charlie
regime
Kirk is
change.
saying. Right? No nukes for.
Historic masterclass. Get fucking bent.
So he made a boom boom, and that's a historic masterclass in what? In diplomacy? How you blow up
Uh,
a nuclear deal. We had a deal, because what other deal would they have? Would they concoct? It would be the same deal of monitoring and and Iran being able to have energy, nuclear energy, but not nuclear weapons. The same deal. It was a very good deal. So he blew it up because he's a petulant little baby, man baby,
yes,
and doesn't want a Democrat to have any successes, because it's all about that. That's all about him. What is
that's
wrong
right.
with you, maggots? You people, you make me sick. This is beyond. I mean, what everything that we had to endure from maggots for generations. Before they were maggots, they were teabaggers, right? Where
Yeah.
they're talking about they were always pointing to their pocket constitutions, right? How when we were trying to ensure that no American had to needlessly die without health care, and we could maybe not have the measurably worst health system in the Western world that costs more and left millions out and needlessly killed thousands, bankrupted millions every year. They were, they had their strict constitutionalist pocket constitutions waving around for whatever reason. I guess that was supposed to mean that we can't have health care, but we can have a king that starts a war without congressional approval, without even going
and
to
and that's
Congress.
and that's the sticking point that we really need to continue to stick, because they're trying to say Obama bombed
Oh
Afghanistan
yes. Oh
without
God.
congressional
I know.
approval, and
He's
there's
not
more
the
to that
same.
story than just that. It wasn't like
Exactly.
Obama woke up one day and said, "Oh no, people are talking shit about me and I need to
Yes.
distract them." Obama
Right.
did go to Congress, and Congress held a vote, and they were deadlocked. And when there is a deadlocked vote, what is the president to do at that time? He is faced with something so impossible in inheriting George W. Bush's mess. And that's
Mm-hmm.
also another thing that happens. A Republican gets into office, and all of a sudden there's a war in the Middle East.
Yep.
Weird. And then a Democrat comes in and has to do everything possible to end that war in the Middle East, and regardless of what they do, they get blamed for what the Republican did. And
Right.
it's so infuriating. So you look at this, and President Trump with a historic masterclass. Yeah, in what not to
A
do.
masterclass
In
in what?
what?
Exactly.
In what exactly? So, you bomb Iran for no reason, with no intelligence saying that America was under any threat from Iran, because we're not. So you decide you're tired of everyone making fun of you. You didn't like that no one showed up for your ego birthday
Exactly.
parade.
That's it.
You're big mad about the Epstein files and how people are talking about those two tweets from Elon, one about the Epstein files, the other one about the election. And you're mad that people are mad at you, and you're getting it from all sides. So you're just going to drop a bomb to distract everyone.
That's it.
You're just going to blow shit up now. Big, shiny, boom, boom object. So that's not a master class, and that's definitely not a reason to get the Nobel Peace Prize, because let me clue you in on something. Dropping bombs. Not peaceful. Not peaceful. And so their whole line of bullshit around this is peace through strength. Dropping bombs because you're mad that people are talking about the Epstein files is the opposite. It's cowardice disguised as strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not real. It's a fake show. It's more bravado from a bully.
It's also
And where are we now?
yeah.
Because of him.
The fact that this is what it's so predictable every time the baboon does something. Well, Obama did this. But they'll go back and find something. It's a lot different extrajudicially or unconstitutionally dropping bombs on a nation that your own security, your own intelligence agency say don't have a nuclear weapon under this pretext because of a foreign nation wants you to do it. is
Right.
just not comparable to Obama bombing or some military intervention in Libya that he was targeting terrorists and whatnot. So,
Right.
you know, and they did the same thing during Clinton, of course. Remember when Clinton was trying to kill Osama bin Laden, and he went to
Mm-hmm.
Congress, and all the Republicans were yelling, "No war for Monica." So they didn't allow it. So
Wow.
Osama bin
Wow.
Laden got away. So yeah, I mean, this is
Yeah.
what we're dealing with. These fucking
It's
people.
so frustrating. Like, there's they. Okay, we can we get
Yeah,
yeah. Hi,
yeah.
I like
All
being
right,
next to
all
you.
right,
It's
director.
fine. It's good. Well, I have a defined sense of order, which is what my children's Montessori teacher said about each of my sons. Not that we're OCD. We have a defined sense of order. This is how things should
It's
be. And I think
absolutely.
I've been like that my whole life, where it's like I see something and I go, well, that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like
Mm-hmm.
this, like a very pragmatic, straightforward way of looking at things. Like,
Right.
I don't know, a convicted felon, adjudicated rapist who still owes E. Jean Carroll $100 million and was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 25 years shouldn't be the president of the United
That's
States.
right.
That's just me, though. Perhaps
Yep.
just me thinking
Mm-hmm.
that way, but I don't think so. And again, like there are still MAGA people screaming for the Epstein files, and it's like I'll just keep
Well,
telling you that
good.
you have no idea what you're asking for. Pam Bondi was in front of Congress again yesterday, lying to them once again and obfuscating. And at no time did anybody say, "Hey, by the way, who are you protecting behind those redacted lines in those Epstein binders?" And that's frustrating for me personally because we know who she's protecting, and MAGA does too. And that's the other thing that, like, that they know there are things
Mm-hmm.
that that they cannot deny, which is why they come back with the whataboutisms
Of
and they
course.
move the
That's all they have.
goalposts and they say
Mm-hmm.
they talk about Monica. And I will say that this is what I always said about the whole Monica Lewinsky thing. And I would say, what goes on in a marriage is really no one else's business. And if they had an arrangement, like, I don't care what you do, just don't tell me about it. And oops. But in a normal situation, there's not Linda Tripp broadcasting your
Oh,
business
I
to the
know.
world, and right.
What a horrible
And in a
person.
normal situation, like awful. Um, in a normal situation, if there's issues within a marriage, it's really only the business of the two people in the
Yeah.
marriage. Unfortunately, their marriage was the most high profile marriage in the country, and she had her reasons for staying in the marriage, and that's her business.
Yeah.
And to me, as long as he was
Exactly.
still running the country, right? Bill Clinton never
Yeah.
stopped doing the job of being the president,
True.
right? He never did.
I
He
don't
may have
care. He got a
paused.
blowjob
He
in the
may have,
Oval Office. He was working. Good.
hey, you know what? I want a president who's still
Yeah,
sexually
I don't
active. It
care.
means he's virile. He's virile. He's motivated. He's
Yeah,
got
whatever.
blood
It
coursing
doesn't.
through his veins. Whatever.
Exactly.
Whatever. He wasn't fucking over the country.
Right.
Okay?
It doesn't. But
Is
they're
it wrong what
hypocrites,
he
of
did
course.
morally? Morally,
Yeah.
sure.
It's
And
up to
covering
yeah.
up
Mm-hmm.
covering that up because he's a little bit embarrassed, sure.
Right.
We'll
I
there
get
are
it.
different there are different kinds of lies.
Well, that's
And there
why
are lies
they,
that are
oh, he
right,
lied. And
protect.
no, but that was the other thing. I always remember those well, before they were maggots, and they were
Right?
just Republicans, I guess. But they were budding into Maggotville, maggotry.
Yes.
They
The
were
seeds
all
were planted.
marching. Yeah, the seeds are always there. They were marching to bring their articles of impeachment. Remember when the House they were
Yes.
marching and they were like, rule of law, rule of law. I mean, it's all coming back to me. It's like that
That's
movie
video
Freaks.
we
Yeah,
should really bring back that video and show it to Republican
rule
leadership
of
because
law.
what has happened
Uh
to the
huh.
rule of law? And then you just put up a
It only
picture of Donald
goes
Trump's face
one
going,
way. Mm-hmm.
yeah. The rule of law has had a loaded diaper flung all over it thanks to Donald Trump. That's what's happened to the rule of law. And it's one of, like, again, like, I will still go on Twitter and I will ask these MAGA people who never respond, like a Charlie Kirk, like a Scott Jennings. It's like, how are you saying that you are proud of him committing an arbitrary act of war without Congress when if Joe
Exactly.
Biden did that, I mean, you would have been
Yes.
screaming for his impeachment before the sun came up the next morning. So
Right. And they would.
it
And they
the
would.
the
That's right.
hypocrisy, right? It's the hypocrisy
And
for me.
yeah,
Trumpocrats are going to Trumpocrat to the last. And
and
what do you know?
the other thing is that the if that were the case too, the Democrats would not pretend it didn't happen. The Democrats would join in. That's what would happen. If a
Yeah,
Democratic president did this, they would the Democrats would be as outraged as we know. They would
absolutely.
exactly. This is
Absolutely.
unconstitutional. Is not acceptable. And in fact, just to put a fine point on what because this is what we are hearing about they're comparing it. Oh well, Obama did it. He let's let's just make put it out there. It's not the same. Obama did have authorization under the 2001 authorization to use military force, which had passed to allow the president to target the those responsible for the 9/11 attack. So, and Obama was bombing the airstrikes in Libya and Iraq were aimed at terrorist organizations, not the regime, not the
Right.
government, the sovereign nation. That's the difference here.
No.
So traitor
Right.
Trump's he's targeted the a sovereign nation's infrastructure without
Right.
not terrorist groups, the nation. So it's a big difference, and the reason I'm pointing it out is for, so everyone can remind their maggot friends and family to when they hear
Right.
that this is the difference. There is no comparison. He's
Right. But
out of his depth.
it's hard to have those conversations because MAGAs aren't interested in the actual facts of
No.
things. They want to be able to uh, tweet or post or whatever some sort of very quick phrase that
Yep.
MAGA has invented.
Yep.
Genocide Joe, uh,
Yes.
or or anything around Ashley Biden and a shower or Hunter
Oh
Biden's
God.
laptop. But Joe Biden sniffed people's heads, which is a stupid one.
Oh
The
yeah. Oh
Pizzagate
God.
shit,
Yeah.
like all of that they come back with is so weak, and they
Yes.
have and there's nothing to substantiate anything that they come back with, right? Like, and what I always say to them is like, you will twist yourself into a pretzel to avoid any truth about Donald Trump, but you believe every lie about any Democrat on its face
Mm-hmm.
without doing any sort of research. And that's on you. That's not my fault. That's on you. And
Yep.
so when I get people trolling me, and it's mostly men who troll me, of course, because they're petty and they get triggered easily, they have no facts on their side. Like, if I say Donald Trump is a convicted felon, they're like, no, he's not. And it's like, well, a jury unanimously convicted him on 34 counts of business fraud.
Oh,
And
a
they're like,
New
well,
York
what were the
jury. That's
and
yeah.
oh, it was the demon rats, and it was a compromised liberal judge, and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, actually,
Bullshit.
someone on the jury was a Trump supporter, so and that person voted to convict him. Well, it
It's
was a man. It
amazing.
was fake charges. Really? Well, 34, all 34 were fake,
Yeah.
all of them,
Everyone's picking on
and
him.
and and then you swing back to the E. Jean verdict. He cannot stop losing to her in court. He just lost yet another appeal. And if he appeals this loss, guess what? He's going to lose that too. Just keep racking it up. She's up to 100 million now. She could
Mm.
buy Mar-a-Lago if she wanted to and rename it, the
Like
Sojourner Truth
a
Golf
women's
Course and Health Spa,
a
right?
crisis center,
Those
right?
Sojourner Truth, Planned Parenthood, and golf course. Like we could do that. We could do that. She could buy Trump Tower and be like, hey, come on over and enjoy some time at the Susan B. Anthony Lounge. Like whatever. We could do that. But
That'd be
and,
nice.
and again, or you could just do what Hal Sparks does and say, how long would it have taken you to spot Jeffrey Epstein as a pedophile? And when they say, oh, 3 seconds, you can say, then how was Donald Trump friends with him for 25 years? And what do you think that makes Trump?
Mm-hmm.
And who do you think Pam Bondi is protecting? Because it's not Bill Clinton. Because they'll be like, oh, Clinton's in the flight logs. Great. Well, he can be on a plane. There's nothing illegal about being on a plane.
Right.
There's a lot illegal about what Donald Trump did, though.
That's
And we
right.
still have never seen any witness testimony that Bill Clinton did anything with a girl who was not of the age of consent,
Of
or
course.
even not, or one who was. Because one thing that Hal reminds people is that there were certain girls who were taken to Epstein Island and groomed and kept there. And many of them turned 18 while they were there so that the older people who went to Epstein Island could feel better about cheating on their wives. At least she was over the age of consent. I don't know if that includes Bill Clinton. We don't have any documentation that says that. We do know he flew there for legitimate business transactions, as did plenty of other people who were invested in doing, because Jeffrey Epstein still had to run a business to keep things on the books, to keep things legit with the IRS or whatever he did to cover up the fact that he was, a sex trafficking rapist pedophile. Nice friend, Don. And also Donald Trump's plane needed repairs back in the summer of 2024, so he couldn't campaign on his own plane. And of all the planes in all the entire world, he had the Lolita Express repainted and flew around on that one. Didn't want to rent a plane, didn't want to go to NetJets, didn't ask one of his other friends who might own a plane, like any of the people who donated $1 million to his inaugural fund. Doesn't Jeff Bezos have a plane?
Oh, God.
Doesn't Elon Musk have a plane? Why didn't he fly around on Elon Musk's plane? I'm just asking questions. But because MAGA has no natural curiosity, they don't want to answer those questions or have to think about what Trump might have done. And so we're on the brink of a third impeachment because it's going to go forward. It's going to, I believe that they'll have enough people, enough Republicans can be shamed into, well, what's the harm in holding a hearing? What's the harm in hearing what you have to say? We're not going to believe you. We're going to vote against you. And what I said about the first two impeachments was it almost, because he was leaving office at the second one, it's so important to just get all of it into the historic record. It's just, that's the first step. Same thing with the January 6th committee. We didn't know what the outcome would be, and we still don't know what an outcome of a potential third impeachment would be, but it'll be in the historic record. It'll be televised, and enough of the American people can see it and hear it and make their own decisions, which will hopefully just steamroll us right into the 2026 midterms, and we get the House and the Senate back.
Well, not quick enough, I'm afraid.
Well, no, nothing is going to be quick enough, but I mean, we have to begin the process. It's, democracy is an action word. So, everyone needs to take action. It's just a question of what should that action be?
Well,
where
I
are
don't know
we?
why, like you're saying, I'm just looking at this vote. 74 Democrats voted to table. Where is it? 79 Democrats voted to table the impeachment bill. Why?
I don't know. Maybe they wanted to wait. I don't know why they would do that. I don't know.
I want to hear why. I mean,
I want to hear why too.
Yeah. Like, what's the excuse?
I always get my news from non-American sources. I like the Independent and the BBC and the Guardian, and I just check the Independent. And if you're a member of Gen X, this will be sad for you. Bobby Sherman died. He was 81. Do you remember Bobby Sherman? Bobby Sherman, teen idol. Okay. Teen idol Bobby Sherman from the late 60s, early 70s, made frequent appearances on the Partridge Family. So he was like in that David Cassidy, Davy Jones, teen idol. Adorable. Oh, he was adorable. Oh, very sweet. Okay, so sad news. Gen X saying goodbye to Bobby Sherman today, along with, our childhoods and our freedoms. Okay, great. I'm sorry. But it's going back to the topics at hand. I believe we will get.
That's all. That's how I look at it.
Oh, yeah, we're all going to die. And while we're talking, the other thing, I don't know if you saw this, and maybe you can pull it up. Matt Gaetz was on an airplane texting with his mom.
I was looking
and
at
somebody made a TikTok of it, and he got lectured by his mom for criticizing. Trump hates betrayal. And so what?
Oh my
What's
God.
wrong with Matt Gaetz's mom? Well, Matt Gaetz's mom raised a sex trafficking pedophile, so there's a lot wrong with Matt Gaetz's mom, I guess. Just like there's a lot wrong with Elon Musk's mom.
Oh God.
So.
Yeah. Let me see.
That's a lot. There's some bad parenting going on in the Republican Party.
I would be ashamed if that was my child. So
Dave knows.
Wrong.
Yes, Bobby Sherman, Oliver. I'm looking at the chat right now while you're pulling. Yes, Dave, Teen Beat, Tiger Beat. Yes, and he was actually Bobby Sherman. If you've ever seen the movie Empire Records, Bobby Sherman was really the one, like the main inspiration for Rex Manning. because Rex Manning was very Bobby Sherman adjacent with I Adore Mia Moore. It's just I love that. Also very Gen X. Malcolm Nance is actually not with us today,
Oh, Jesus
unfortunately, but
Christ. Oh, wrong button.
hey, you can watch how the sausage is made and you can decide,
Yeah, they're
whether or
fine.
not you enjoy
This
watching it
ain't
or not. Okay. So
MSNBC,
I
so
just
you better
find
not.
that look how inept Matt Gaetz is. First of all, just I mean, like you're just sitting there
Is that
openly.
it? Is this
Anybody can
it?
see. It's almost yeah, and it's almost like Matt Gaetz wanted it to be filmed. Doesn't try to not keeping it covered, not protecting it.
So it's a text. It's a series of texts between him and his mom.
Yes, and it's on the TikTok, so it has music. So
Oh, okay. That's
I
what I
don't,
was
but he's a
looking at
moron.
here.
He's a sex trafficking rapist moron who, by the way, doxed me on his show, the Firebrand show, back in 2021 when he told his followers to seek out my
Oh, wow.
social media profiles because I had I had the audacity to write a truthful article about Matt Gaetz visiting my former district,
Oh,
and it did not go well when he visited my former district because he was supporting Joe Kent as the candidate in Washington's third, and it was a whole day of ridiculousness and my life being threatened by MAGA people. And after the fact, there were a few days where I was followed around my town. I got rape and death threats. Somebody sent a car to my house, all because of Matt Gaetz telling people
wow.
to seek
That's
out, calling me a
crazy.
Karen, calling me unhinged. So I have a personal thing. I want Matt Gaetz to make some friends in El Salvador, in an El
Wow.
Salvadorian prison. I want Matt Gaetz to make some friends in quotes. I want to make him to make friends in the shower in a prison in El Salvador. And that's me being kind because uh, my livelihood was threatened for telling the truth about Matt Gaetz.
Huh. Who took this video though? Where he was like
Some
on a
dude who was on the
huh?
same flight. He
Huh.
was sitting behind Matt Gaetz on this plane.
That's
But I don't know
amazing.
why people have to put fucking music on a
I
TikTok.
know why.
What the kid should have done was one of those where he's doing the green screen and it's him like, well, I was just on this flight. I noticed that
Yeah.
former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz was in front of me, and so this is what it says. And like to narrate it,
Right.
that would
Just
be
do it
much more
one.
helpful
Right.
than Paper Planes or whatever
Yeah.
song that
I'm
was. I think
trying
it was
to
Paper
guide
Planes, but I'm
him,
not
not
sure really sure.
criticize. I've never been freer to share my views, and I'll continue to do so. I think about the people who led Iraq war because they liked Bush. Those people have blood on their hands. Is that the mom saying that? I can't help.
I can't
It's hard to
tell which is
tell.
him and which is her.
Exactly. It's
So,
hard to tell.
but his should be on the right side, and hers
Can
would
you?
be on the
Oh, okay.
left,
Can you
right
post?
as
Right.
the response. So
Oh my
it's
God.
just,
Don't guide him
I
in
mean,
the public square. He has intelligence and briefing that
that's
you
the
are not
mom,
privy to. Transnuclear
not
program,
privy.
not privy. Uh,
Yeah.
let me see. It's hard to see.
Imagine being Matt Gaetz's mom though, and you're like,
How many times do you want to hit the wall? I am
uh
a
huh,
happily married man with a son on the way. Two
what?
penthouses, a
Wait a
condo, a
minute.
one-on-one real estate, and a
He has a
five hundred
son on the
thousand.
way.
Is this what he's telling his mom?
Ginger is spawning.
And why is he doing? Why is he boasting to his mother? I guess she's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And 500,000 in my bank account, cash. Well, it's good to be an elected
Good to be.
Republican, isn't it?
Well, he's
These
not
are the.
elected. He's
I
not in
know, but
office
he
anymore.
made
He's
his.
freer than ever.
Yeah,
He
he
is
made
not
his.
happily married, by the way, because he's a sex trafficking rapist still under investigation. So,
Don't be criticizing the president or his actions. He's trying to keep us safe. That's his
this is his
job.
mother saying that.
That can't be. Really? No,
Yes,
that
it
can't be.
is.
He's
She's
in blue?
when you have a text conversation, when you're texting with someone, your texts are on the right,
Oh
and
my
the person
God. So his
who
mom.
responded is on the left, right? I think I'm correct
Oh,
about
yeah,
that
you're
because you and
probably
I were
right. MAGA will turn on
yeah,
you. You will lose
yeah,
viewership. Your days in Congress are over. Practice
right.
something. Let's not something media gig. Let's not mess up the media gig. The president has
So
been a very good friend to you. He hates betrayal. Be
this is
smart,
so damning.
not stubborn.
So what we've learned is that Matt Gaetz has $500,000 in cash so he can leave the country at any time.
Fuckers.
I think he's a flight risk. And if his wife is pregnant, that's, oh my God, that poor kid. Oh,
Really?
you're going to grow up. I mean, my God. I've tweeted to her before she changed her name to Gates. Her name was
Incredible.
Ginger Lucky, Luckey, and I used to call her Unlucky Ginger. It's like,
Poor
you're
lady.
not lucky or
Ugh.
at all. Remember when he
Imagine.
like
Oh.
roofied her and kidnapped her and put her on a plane and made her get married to him in Reno
Oh.
or something?
Ugh. Imagine Matt
And that
Gates
was,
crawling on top of you. He's such a disgusting person. He's the guy that what really gets me is when it all came out when all those underage girls were testifying against him. They
yep.
said that he was at some party and they were walking through one of the girls was walking through the party and there's Matt Gates having sex with someone and like he's a
Gross.
dog. I mean, that's what I mean. It's like you are a grown
No,
ass
I don't want that in
man,
my head at
congressman,
all.
and you're
Gross.
just having sex with,
Out in
random
the
and
open.
underage. That's what she was saying. It was an underage girl. He was having sex with her
Right.
at this
So a
party
child.
in front of
It's a child.
everybody. They're just so vile. They have no
And
decency.
I want to know why his co-conspirator is in prison and he's not. Oh, wait, Florida man got a rich Florida daddy.
Right.
That's why. It's
Wow.
disgusting. And there was, and the fact that he has all of these protections is really frustrating, especially as someone who has tangoed with him. I mean, when I got those death threats and I filed a real police report,
Mm.
and I filed a police report, not just here locally, but I filed one with the Capitol Police because his tweets generated from Washington, D.C. And I filed a complaint with the D.C. Police and I
Wow.
filed a complaint with the Florida Bar, and
Good.
nobody
Nothing
did
happened, right?
anything. The Florida Bar first responded saying that it was within his First Amendment rights. And I
To
responded with to threaten me or his opinions of me, like the unhinged Karen and all of that. I don't care about that. I didn't
uh-huh.
care about that part. You want to call me names because you're a giant bully? What? Oh, boo hoo. My
Right.
skin's very thick, right? I have very thick skin. But you told your audience to seek out. That's a direct quote.
Yeah.
Seek out my profiles, which they sure did, and more. And they took it further. And he did a second episode of his segment on his Firebrand podcast about me in the summer of 2023. So he knows who I am. And I went
People are
after him I mean, it's fucked up. And the fact that when he went on that tour with Marjorie Taylor Greene, I
Oh.
constantly tweeted her and called her office leaving voicemails. And I said, I only have one question for you, Marjorie. Which one of your daughters is Matt Gaetz' favorite? And do you leave your daughters alone in a room with him? Because he's disgusting.
Those poor daughters. Really, I always feel bad for
I
them.
know. And but to have the Florida Bar tell me that what he did was within his First Amendment rights. And so I
'Cause they don't
I
they don't wanna
contested
deal
that.
with it.
I appealed that ruling and I said, here's documentation here's my police report. Here is this. Here is the tweet. I mean, here's the message from her threatening me. This is this. This is that. This is the text from the car that pulled up outside of my house and told me to come outside. And they were like, Matt Gaetz, First Amendment. So I was just like, all right, you know what? Well, and I also filed complaints with the House Ethics Committee, 2 of them, and was told repeatedly, we can't comment on ongoing
Right.
investigations, and they never did anything either. And it's just like, and people are like, how do you continue to have faith in your government when they don't do anything to help you? And I'm like,
Right.
well, maybe this wasn't their highest priority, but I still think it matters when any member of Congress steps outside.
You would think.
Steps outside what is normal comportment for a member of Congress.
Yeah, they shouldn't be
like what Nancy
threatening
Mace did.
Right. No, private
No, they
people
should
who,
never be threatening
not at
their
all.
constituents or anyone else. And
No,
so,
of course
this
not. It's
stepping
fucked up.
outside of what's right and the exception, people just accepting this abnormalcy, the slow boil that started 10 years ago is how we get Matt Gaetz being this emboldened. And the media is complicit in
Yes, they are.
that enabling without holding anybody accountable in the right way. And even on the Sunday shows when they were trying to parse like what happened Saturday, what happened with the dropping the bomb on Iran, they were not asking the questions in the right way. And it's more like, you know, they were talking less about should he have done it. They weren't talking about enough that it was unconstitutional
Right.
and that he acted without Congress.
That's the
And we're
problem.
already like moving on from it.
Yeah, they
And
normalize it. They normalize all the bad behavior. And the American people think that this is the role of the president when the founders put the power of the purse and the power to declare war and wage war in the hands of the Congress deliberately so we wouldn't have a king. Why would
Right.
they fight a revolution and create a government from the liberal age of enlightenment inspired by the Voltaire, Rousseau, all of
Right.
these radicals who said that we don't need a king in an aristocracy, we can rule ourselves, only to set up the same system, give the president, I mean, the worst thing they did, one of the bad things, they gave him one kingly power is the power of the pardon, which these monsters always abuse like everything else. But the fact that Congress has completely abdicated their role, regardless of what Mike Johnson says, he goes on about he's a real Article 1 guy, when in the very next sentence says that he's given Trump every power that Congress has to check and balance this bullshit. So
No.
it's just gaslighting that never stops. I'm a real Article 1
It
guy. Go ahead, bomb.
No,
and
you're
have a war.
not.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus. He also said that Republicans aren't trying to cut Medicaid. You fucking liar.
Exactly. This is what I'm talking
You
about.
fucking liar.
As they're cutting it. So it's like, wait, are they cutting Medicaid? That's what they want, people to be
Right.
confused. And to
It's
say I'm a real
right.
Article 1 guy, while you're completely abdicating the role of Congress, there's no checks and balances anymore. There's whatever
No.
traitor Trump wants. He wants to make a boom boom, go right ahead, make a boom boom. There'll be
I
no
made a base
consequences.
explosion.
That's what it is. I'm
But
gonna make a
it-
boom boom.
But the consequences, I mean, there are plenty of MAGA people saying, I voted for no new wars. I'm done. We also saw, I don't know if you saw this, but yesterday, Lisa Murkowski gave an interview where she said that she could see a point where she just switches parties. She could
To what?
investigate.
Independent or
Could become no, she said that she would join the Democratic Party.
Good. That's
That
good.
she already basically votes like a Democrat most of the time, and she's been capable of speaking out against
that'd be
Trump.
good.
She has been vocally critical, and it's not like she's going to do it today, but I think she's at the point where she's exploring the options of what it would take to do that, and all I'm asking is for her to do it in time to cast a vote for impeachment. Let's just
That'd be good.
get that ball rolling. Get that ball rolling. And I would also say, like, anyone who's worried about a third impeachment, if you're a Republican and you're going to vote to block an impeachment, if you're proud of this president and your president and you're proud of what Trump has done, all of these actions, you won't fear an impeachment trial.
Right.
You won't. You'll be like, sure, bring it on. Because you need to bluff and say, we have nothing to fear, we have nothing to hide, we have nothing to be afraid of. What he did was constitutional, what he did was right, we're so proud. Strength, peace through strength, and blah, blah, blah.
gosh.
If that's your party line, Mark Wayne, go ahead and let it happen, because if you have nothing to fear. But what I would say is if that happened, like, Democrats need to throw the whole kitchen sink at him, not just the impeachment. Everything needs to happen, like pardoning the J6 people. That needs to be in there, and the election stuff needs to be in there, and every single person who's enabled him needs to be named in the articles of impeachment. Every single Republican in Congress,
Yeah.
right? I don't care. I don't care. Name them all. Name
There
them and
has to
shame
be.
them.
Yeah.
We are at the brink of our democracy shattering into tiny pieces, and like a vase, like the vase on the Brady Bunch, you're not going to be able to put it back together because Mom always said, "Don't play ball in the house." So what they're doing, right? They played ball in the house and something broke, and so they need to fix it and put it back together, but they can't. And so impeachment is, if it's because there are people
Be
like
with you.
impeachment's
Look,
not
this
a solution. Well, it could be if it leads to the removal of this illegitimate administration, because at the same time, finally investigations into the 2024 election are happening. Finally, recounts are happening in districts that reported 0 votes for Kamala Harris in New York. No, that didn't happen. So, like again, this is happening all at once, and it's our responsibility to continue putting pressure on Democrats to follow through. Follow through on the impeachment. Keep pushing. You get enough. I would even say, and I think I've said this before, hold the vote in secret. I don't care. Be a coward. Hold the votes in secret. And then I bet you anything.
They should have done that with the first,
right? It would get moved. Right? It would pass the House and move on to a Senate trial. So, and anyone who might be watching here who trolled me on Instagram because I invited you to come hang out with us, do you understand how government works now? Because they didn't understand when I was trying to explain it to them on Instagram. It's fine. I don't care if they hear it. I don't know. I don't know. Some dude on Instagram was
you give
expending a lot of
attention
energy.
That they want. I mean, you're just encouraging. Don't feed the trolls.
Well, you know what it is? I have a curious nature. I am curious about human beings, and to my own detriment, I know that. But I'm curious about human beings, and if I can unlock the why of why did you do that? Who are you? Like, why did you do that? I don't have to like it, but it helps me to understand someone's motivation, and helps me to be like, helps me to be like, oh, okay, so you're that guy, and this is how you think. So now I can reframe the way that I parse anything coming from you from this point forward. So, okay, I get it. So it's just, you want to troll me? Great. You know what you're doing? Nothing. You're entertaining me. You're not hurting my feelings because I have a thick skin. Right. Donald Trump blocked me almost 10 years ago. No one's going to top that, right? So, and no, they haven't. No, they haven't, you lying sack of shit. So,
did you hear this guy twisting himself into a pretzel?
Simultaneously,
we dropped the bombs to make the
Look,
peace
this is
because the
certainly
bombs
a
made
dynamic
the peace.
environment, right? We're trying to lower the temperature of global conflict while simultaneously kind of raising it here in order to lower it. And so I think the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, is exactly right. It would be Iran's worst decision possible to this point, and they've made a lot of bad decisions up till this juncture, to come back and attack.
What this maggot administration, the maladministration, has taught every rogue actor that you cannot trust the Americans. Don't make deals with them. Don't trust their treaties. Don't trust anything that they promise because they will break it. That's what he's taught Iranian.
That's MAGA pretzel logic.
Yeah.
We're raising the temperature to lower the temperature to raise the temperature.
And isn't it a great, just a genius move? That's the other thing. You have to end it all with ass kissing and ass licking and how 5D chess is happening. Jesus
and it's
Christ.
just, again, I still don't get why anyone bows to Trump when he's a fucking coward. He's such a coward.
I know.
He's so spineless,
Because
so
they all
weak,
are.
so ineffective.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
They're all cowards. If
they are all cowards. They are. I think that's been made abundantly clear, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for MAGA. Like, you think you elected a strong man, but you elected a straw man is what you did. And
the
absolute,
baby,
again,
titty baby. That's ever
afraid
existed.
of this lady on Twitter. Just afraid of me for no reason.
They're all
no reason. I know.
Well,
I know.
The studies have that you could tell a conservative, they've done brain studies where conservatives have larger amygdalas, which are the fear centers in the brain. It makes sense.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, because they are very fear motivated, and
they are.
All they do is tickle those very large amygdalas and the racist funny bones. I mean, it all kind of goes together. That it's a deadly mix, though, of cowardice and fear and I guess inability to rule themselves, because that's why they want an authoritarian daddy to save them from the scary, complex world. That's all it is. They don't want to have to do the adulting, the business of governing. It takes being able to muster some level of maturity to function in a free democratic society, where especially a multiracial democratic society where people are allowed to worship different sky spooks or none at all, and they can't handle that. They just don't know how to just mind their own goddamn business, really, right? And like work for the betterment of the community. Republicans
they don't care about that.
Yeah, they do not get into government for altruism. Not a one. They get into it to rig the game for themselves and their pals. And that's why, of course, money in politics is the root of all this evil, as is the media, which is, it's all connected. But
correct. Which is why you need to support us here in the independent media. And we only have a couple of minutes left on the show. Make sure you're signed up for Devlin Substack and my Substack and the PVN Substack. You see our Venmos there on the screen. And there's a bit of personal business I want to share with our friends in the chat. Your girl Dublin is having a rough one right now. First of all, we did have a small victory because I got out of the red light ticket that I got. I had to do online court yesterday. And because I got one of those automatic red light tickets, and I did an online hearing, and the traffic, and it was, the automatic, I wasn't pulled over by a cop or anything. But the traffic cop who was supposed to be there, and I learned pretty much traffic cops never show up.
You're a little low.
I'm a little low?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Am I louder now?
People are saying
a little bit.
The balance is not good, but go ahead.
Is this okay now?
You're fine.
I put my face in here like this.
Now you're
okay. So the traffic cop who was on my case did not show, and so my case got dismissed, which is great because that saved me $300. At the same time, I have an infection in a tooth right here. I don't know if you can see, but my cheek is all red right here. Because I went to urgent care on Sunday because I woke up with a swollen face, which is scary. And please go to the dentist, you people, if you don't have a dentist, find a dentist, take care of your mouth, because if mouth stuff, it connects to your whole body and you can die. And I'm terrified now. And so I went on Sunday and I have an infection. I'm taking antibiotics and I have some pain meds, but I have a tooth in here that has to come out. And that's going to cost money I don't have. And I'm probably going to have to put up a GoFundMe. And so I'm going to the walk-in clinic tomorrow to get an examination by a real dentist and then hopefully get it extracted soon. But I don't have dental insurance. Dental insurance is kind of a racket in that it doesn't really cover when you need actual procedures. It kind of covers like a visit, a cleaning, some x-ray, but it doesn't ever cover, we have to take apart your jaw and fix your whole face or whatever. I don't know what they're going to have to do, but what I do know is that with rent looming and this happening at the same time, it's like a perfect storm of holy fuck, what am I going to do? And so I will keep everybody posted regarding this. So if you're signed up for my Substack as well as the PVN Substack, that's one way to stay connected. You can come back with us on Thursday. We'll be here at the same time, same channel, and hopefully I'll have an update. But what it comes down to is, if you have the means of kicking down a little scratch to the Venmo so that I can continue speaking and doing the show, because I'm very concerned about this, I would very much appreciate it. You can also buy my book, The Sound of Settling, a rock and roll love story, available now at TaraDevlinRocks.com. Please also support Devlin and everybody else here on the Political Voices Network, because, y'all, the mainstream media is over. And it's really all about the corporate media is done, and we have to find it's finding voices you can trust out here, and that's us here on the Political Voices Network. We don't have anybody where I'm like, I trust every single voice on the Political Voices Network, and I feel very lucky to be a part of this universe because of who we have joining us here every single day to keep the truth out there for our audience. So we thank you so, so much for being here. We thank Jim for being the best moderator ever. We appreciate you so much. And yeah, Kathy, it's going to be between $4,000 and $5,000. Kathy in the chat.
What? Pulling a tooth?
For my tooth. For my tooth.
No,
and
it depends.
I'm going to have to get
Are you
a
getting
brand
an
of
implant?
tooth to get.
Oh, okay.
I probably would have to. So I use an electric toothbrush and I floss and I do the home remedies. But this
Which tooth is it?
It's genetic. It's up here.
Is it like in the back?
It's not the molar, but it's
like one. Okay.
It's here. It's here-ish. And it's
yeah.
And so, like, I'm doing cold compresses and swishing my mouth with salt water and baking soda, and I have amoxicillin. And I was introduced to a brand new painkiller I had never tried before. It's called tramadol, and just a half of that is like, wee. I don't really like. I don't know. I don't like taking narcotics. I don't like it. It just messes with your internal systems, and I'm not a fan of taking that kind of stuff to begin with, but I'm grateful that they exist because it at least prevented me from being in excruciating pain and allowed me to sleep.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's no joke. It is no joke. I mean, I'm still going to go to Lobar Corral tonight because I can't get in to see a dentist until tomorrow. But again, if anybody is willing to kick down a couple of bucks just to keep us afloat or keep my mouth moving, again, we appreciate you so very much. Are we over?
No.
I feel like we're over. And the music hasn't started. But
we're not
Oh, here
over.
it comes. There it is. There it is. I hear it now. All right, my friends, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here, and we hope that you'll join us again on Thursday, same Tara time, same Tara channel. Devlin, Dublin, TNT with Dynamite.
All right, guys. See you on Thursday. We'll be same time. You know.
Take care of yourselves and each other.
Yes. In the meantime, check out the Political Voices Substack. Become all that stuff. Become a patron. Patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Give Tara Dublin some money to get her tooth pulled and replaced.
Yeah, please.
And
we're all in this together, except Trump.
Yeah, we don't have
That's right.
big billionaire benefactors. We just have each other.
We do not. We need a big billionaire benefactor if y'all know it.
That'd be nice, yeah.
Wouldn't
it? See you later.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone. That's the end of the Tara Show. Fading out all of music. It's the outro to the Tara